On the quiet planet of Elira, life moved with a gentle rhythm. Cities were made of smooth silver towers that reflected the pale sunlight, and streets shimmered with soft energy lights instead of cars. The Elirans, tall and graceful beings with translucent skin and bright, curious eyes, lived in harmony with their planet. They had technology far beyond what humans had on Earth, but their achievements had limits, especially when nature itself seemed to rebel. For weeks, the Elirans noticed something strange. The rivers, usually clear and bright, had begun to dull. Crops that had once grown in perfect rows now struggled to sprout. The weather, once predictable, had begun to swing unpredictably. Hot winds would blow one day only to be replaced by sudden sharp rains the next. Scientists studied the anomalies day and night, but no matter how advanced their technology, they could not fix the problem. "We need help," said Elira's chief scientist, Virella, her voice trembling slightly as she observed a failing crop through a magnifying screen. Her eyes reflected the tiny seedlings that drooped in the hydro farms. "Our knowledge alone cannot solve this. Something beyond our understanding is causing the collapse." Her assistant, a younger Illyrian named Solon, shook his head in frustration. "We have analyzed everything. Every energy pattern, every soil sample, every weather cycle. It is like the planet itself is confused. But how can we call for help? Who would hear us?" Virella's face softened with determination. "There is a way. The signal beacon. It is ancient, built for moments like this. Long ago, our ancestors created it for the day we could not handle our world alone. It will reach other civilizations. It is our only hope." The Elirans rarely asked for help from outside their planet. Their pride in their intelligence and achievements was immense. But now, faced with a problem bigger than themselves, they had no choice. The beacon, a complex device shaped like a giant crystal, rested in the heart of Elira's capital. It could send messages across the galaxy, seeking allies for the planet in times of crisis. That night, under the glow of Elira's twin moons, Virella and Solon activated the beacon. Energy surged through the crystal, creating a soft hum that resonated across the city. Streams of light shot into space, traveling past the moon, past the rings of Elira's outer planets, and into the void beyond. The message was simple but urgent. "We are Elira. Our planet is in danger. We seek aid from intelligent civilizations willing to help." As the beacon sent its message, humans far away in another star system picked it up. A research ship named Aurora was scanning nearby regions of space for unusual phenomena when the signal blinked on their instruments. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the helm of the ship, her dark hair pulled back and her eyes fixed on the display. "What is that?" she asked. Her second-in-command, Jamal, leaned over to look. "It's some kind of structured signal," Jamal replied, brows furrowed. "It's not random radiation. It's intelligent, and it's asking for help." Elena's heart raced. Humans had always wondered if there were others in the universe. This was proof. Proof that intelligent life existed beyond their solar system, and more importantly, that they needed assistance. "Where is it coming from?" Elena asked. "Coordinates point to a system about 12 light years from here." "Not far in galactic terms," Jamal replied. I don't know, Captain. Something about it feels different. It's not hostile. It's almost pleading." Elena nodded slowly, her mind already racing with possibilities. "Set a course. Let's see who is asking for our help." As Aurora accelerated toward Elira back on the planet, Elirans watched the sky with anxious hope. They did not know who would respond. Perhaps no one would. Perhaps the signal would drift for centuries unnoticed. Yet a small spark of optimism flickered in their hearts. Days passed. The weather continued to act strangely, and crops failed to improve. Yet the Elirans' hope did not fade. They prepared for any visitors, unsure of what form help might take. Virella instructed her team to organize the city's landing zones, even though Elirans rarely experienced visitors beyond their own kind. Then, without warning, a ship appeared in Elira's orbit. Its design was unlike anything the Elirans had ever seen, smooth, metallic, and efficient. Lights blinked along its surface as it descended slowly, carefully, showing no aggression. Inside the ship, Captain Elena and her team marveled at the planet below. It was beautiful, with silver towers, glowing fields, and rivers that still shimmered in places despite the environmental troubles. "We are not alone," Elena whispered to herself. "And they are waiting for us." The Ilyrans waited nervously as the human ship landed. A door opened and a group of beings stepped out. Humans. Two-legged, warm-blooded, wearing sleek suits, carrying devices that pulsed with energy. Virella felt a strange mixture of curiosity and awe. Humans were different from Ilyrans, less graceful in movement perhaps, but their presence radiated determination and intelligence. Captain Elena stepped forward and raised a hand in greeting. "We received your message. We are here to help," she said in a calm, clear voice. Virella's eyes widened. She had never heard a voice quite like that. It was full of confidence but also kindness. She bowed slightly, a traditional Illyran greeting. "Welcome to Ilyra," she said. "I am Virella, Chief Scientist. This is Solon. We are grateful that you answered our call." Elena smiled. "We do not know what we can do yet, but we will try. That is what humans do. We try. And we do not give up." The Ilyrans exchanged glances. There was something about these humans that felt different. Brave, curious, resourceful. Perhaps this was exactly what Ilyra needed. Over the next few hours, humans and Ilyrans began sharing information. Ilyrans explained the environmental crisis, crops that would not grow, weather patterns that had gone haywire, and mysterious energy surges that interfered with technology. Humans listened carefully, asking questions, taking notes, and observing patterns the Ilyrans had overlooked. Jamal pointed to a graph of energy fluctuations. "See this spike here?" he said. "It happens every time the storms intensify. Maybe the storms are not random. Maybe the energy itself is causing them." Solon frowned. "We noticed the energy surges, but we could not understand their connection to weather. Humans, you may be able to see what we cannot." Elena nodded. "We will need to study it, gather more data, and experiment carefully. But together I think we can make sense of it." As night fell on Ilyra, the sky glowed with the light of distant stars. The Ilyrans and humans worked side by side, planning their first steps to understand and save the planet. For the first time in weeks, the Ilyrans felt a sense of hope, not just from the possibility of rescue, but from the realization that they were not alone in the universe. Humans, too, felt something they rarely admitted: awe. They were far from home, in a place completely unknown, yet they were needed. And that in itself was enough to ignite determination. Virella watched the humans for a moment. They were strange, noisy at times, clumsy in their movements, yet full of life and ideas. Ilyra had never seen anyone like them. She felt a quiet excitement. Perhaps the solution was not just in their technology or their understanding of nature, but in these humans, with their endless curiosity and fearless problem-solving. As both species worked late into the Ilyran night, a silent agreement formed between them. Together, they would face the challenge. And perhaps when humans answered their call, it would not just save Ilyra, it might change both worlds forever. The distant signal had done its job. Hope had arrived. The human ship Aurora had landed carefully in Ilyra's capital city. Its sleek metallic hull reflected the soft light of Ilyra's twin moons, casting shimmering shadows across the silver streets. Ilyrans gathered around, their translucent forms glowing faintly, as they observed the humans with curiosity and caution. It was rare for Ilyrans to see beings from beyond their world, and the sight of humans, so different in shape, movement, and energy, was both fascinating and a little frightening. Captain Elena Reyes stepped down from the ship, her boots making soft thuds against the polished landing pad. Her dark eyes scanned the crowd. "We mean no harm," she said clearly, raising a hand in a peaceful gesture. "We came because we received your message and want to help." Virella, the Illyran chief scientist, stepped forward to greet them. Her tall form shimmered faintly in the moonlight. "Welcome, humans," she said in her melodic voice. "I am Virella, chief scientist of Ilyra, and this is my assistant Solon. You have answered a call that few thought would ever be answered. For that we are grateful." The humans bowed slightly, imitating the Ilyran gesture out of respect. Jamal, Elena's second-in-command, whispered, "They are beautiful and strange. I've never seen anything like this." Virella smiled faintly. "And we have never seen beings like you. Please follow me. There is much to discuss." Inside the Ilyran city, the humans were amazed. The towers of silver stretched high into the sky, connected by glowing bridges of energy that pulsed softly. The streets were clean and smooth, with no vehicles in sight, only beings moving gracefully as they went about their work. Strange plants, bioluminescent and vibrant, grew along the edges of walkways. Rivers glimmered with light, carrying clear water that reflected the towers above. Elena could not help but marvel. "This place? It's incredible," she whispered to Jamal. "They've built technology that works with their world, not against it. And it's beautiful." Virella led them to a large hall where Illyran scientists gathered. Holographic screens floated in the air showing graphs, energy readings, and 3D images of crops, rivers, and the sky. The humans were invited to sit, and data began to flow between the two species. Virella explained the situation. "Our planet is in crisis. Crops fail to grow, weather is unpredictable, and our energy systems fluctuate without reason. Our scientists have studied every detail, but we cannot find a solution. We hoped someone else with different knowledge and perspective could help." Elena leaned forward, her eyes scanning the holograms. "Tell me about the energy fluctuations," she said. "Show me patterns, times, locations. Humans are good at connecting dots that others may miss." Solon projected a timeline of energy spikes across Illyra. The humans studied it carefully. "These spikes happen before every sudden storm," Jamal noted. "It's almost like the storms are responding to the energy, not the other way around." Virella nodded. "We observed the same. But the relationship is unclear. We cannot manipulate it without risking more harm." Elena tapped her chin thoughtfully. "We will need to collect more data on site. I want to see the farms, the rivers, and the satellites. Humans understand patterns in nature, even when they seem chaotic. We may be able to help you see what your eyes cannot detect," the Illyrans agreed. For the first time in weeks, hope sparked in their hearts. Maybe these humans, different, strange, but intelligent, could see solutions they could not. The next morning, humans and Illyrans began fieldwork together. Humans wore protective suits adapted to Illyra's slightly different atmosphere. They walked alongside Illyran researchers through hydro farms, observing the struggling crops. Humans touched the soil, smelled it, and examined the water carefully. "These plants are not receiving the proper energy from the soil," Elena observed. "There's a subtle imbalance. Your technology stabilizes many things, but something is off at the basic level. Perhaps if we adjust the energy flow here, it could help the crops recover." Solon looked thoughtful. "We never considered that possibility. Our systems focus on the environment as a whole. Humans, you notice details we sometimes overlook. The humans moved on to the rivers. They observed the water flow, the energy currents beneath the surface, and the strange flickers in the air." Jamal pointed to a series of small glowing nodes along the riverbanks. "These are not just decorative. They are energy regulators, right?" "Yes," Solon replied. "They maintain balance in water and air currents, but lately they have been unstable. We do not understand why." "Let's map them," Jamal said. "I think we can adjust their timing to match natural rhythms. It might calm the rivers and reduce the storms." Meanwhile, Illyrans guided humans through the city, showing them the satellites orbiting Illyra. Humans examined the energy fields, checked data from sensors, and noticed patterns in how storms developed in different regions. Their human intuition, combined with Illyran technology, created an entirely new approach to understanding the planet's crisis. Even simple things impressed the Illyrans. Humans asked questions that seemed obvious, yet they revealed insights Illyrans had never considered. "Why do you adjust the soil in this way?" Elena asked, pointing to a soil stabilizer. "If we tried it differently, it might improve absorption of natural energies." Virella watched, amazed. "They are teaching us to think differently about our own systems, not by replacing them, but by seeing connections we missed." As the day ended, humans and Illyrans gathered in the capital's observatory. The sun set, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The twin moons rose, casting their glow across the city. It was a peaceful moment, yet the urgency of the crisis remained. Elena spoke to Virella. "We cannot solve everything in a day, but this is the start. We can help you stabilize the systems gradually. First, we need small successes, then larger ones." Step by step, Virella nodded. "Your presence gives us hope. We felt lost before, now perhaps the impossible is possible." The humans smiled, humbled by the trust placed in them. "Humans are curious and we like solving problems," Elena said. "We don't always know the answer at first, but we do not give up, and we will not give up on Illyra." Over the next few days, humans and Illyrans worked side by side. They ran tests on crops, adjusted energy regulators, and mapped the patterns of storms. Small successes emerged. A test plot of plants began to grow stronger, a minor storm stabilized, and the river's energy nodes operated more evenly. Ilyrans watched in awe as humans applied their methods, sometimes simple, sometimes clever, but always persistent. They realized that the humans' strength was not just technology, but their creativity, adaptability, and determination. One evening, Solon turned to Virella. "I think humans may be the first beings outside our species who can teach us something vital, not in arrogance, but in partnership." Virella smiled faintly. "Yes, we have knowledge, but they have perspective. Together we may save Ilyra, and in the process learn a new way to see our world." Captain Elena stood on the observatory balcony, gazing at the city below. She felt a deep sense of connection with Ilyra and its people. They were facing a challenge that could have been impossible alone, yet here, together, hope was growing. "This is why we explore," she said quietly to Jamal. "Not for glory, not for conquest, but to help, to understand, to make a difference. And today we have done exactly that." As night fell over Ilyra, humans and Ilyrans alike felt something rare: optimism. For the first time in many weeks, the planet's crisis seemed not like an inevitable doom, but a problem that could be solved, step by step, together. Somewhere in the galaxy, the distant signal beacon that had first called for help continued to hum softly. Its work done, it had reached those who would answer, and it had brought hope back to a world that had begun to lose it. The humans and Ilyrans had only just begun their journey, but the first bridge between two civilizations was built, not through weapons or war, but through curiosity, intelligence, and a willingness to help. Ilyra's future was uncertain, yes, but brighter than it had been in weeks. The morning sun rose over Ilyra, spilling golden light across silver towers and shimmering streets. The twin moons had faded from view, leaving only a soft haze in the sky. Humans and Ilyrans alike were already awake, preparing for a day of work. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the edge of a hydro farm, watching Ilyran scientists move gracefully among rows of struggling plants. She had quickly realized that saving Ilyra would not be simple. The problems were complex and the planet's systems were delicate. But she also knew one thing: humans thrived in challenges like this. "Good morning, team," she said, smiling. Jamal, her second-in-command, gave a small wave, and the Ilyrans gathered around to hear the plan. Virella stepped forward. "Today we will focus on 3 areas: crops, water systems, and energy fluctuations. Each is connected. We must work carefully." Elena nodded. "Step 1, observation. Step 2, trial solutions. Step 3, adjustment based on results. Humans are good at seeing patterns others miss. Ilyrans are good at controlling complex systems. Together we can make progress." The first area of focus was the hydro farms. Ilyrans had tried everything: adjusting nutrient levels, controlling light cycles, even altering the water flow. But nothing worked. Humans suggested a new approach, combining Ilyran technology with human methods of trial and error, using small-scale experiments to observe reactions without endangering the entire farm. Elena and Jamal set up several test plots. "We'll try slight changes in the energy flow to the soil," Elena explained. "If one set of plants reacts positively, we can gradually expand." Solon watched carefully. "Humans are willing to experiment, without fear of failure," he observed quietly to Virella. "That is unusual for us." "Indeed," Virella replied. "Our people prefer certainty. We calculate, plan, and predict. But humans, they embrace uncertainty when necessary. That may be why they see things we cannot." Over the next hours, humans and Ilyrans worked together, adjusting energy regulators, fine-tuning water levels, and observing plant responses. Slowly, small signs of success appeared. A test crop straightened, leaves vibrant and green. A small spark of hope flickered across the faces of Ilyran scientists. "See?" Elena said, pointing. "Small improvements. It may take time, but we are moving in the right direction." Next, they moved to the rivers. Ilyra's water systems were interconnected with the weather and the energy network. Humans had noticed that certain energy nodes along the rivers were not synchronized with natural currents, creating small disruptions that, when multiplied, affected the weather. Jamal tapped on his device, analyzing energy patterns. "If we adjust the timing of these nodes," he explained, "the water will flow more smoothly, reducing energy spikes and possibly stabilizing minor storms." Solon looked skeptical. We tried adjusting nodes before, but never in this way. Humans, your timing is different, Elena smiled. Humans often look for patterns in chaos. Sometimes the solution is not more technology, but better timing and coordination. Working together, humans and Ellerins recalibrated the nodes. They tested small adjustments, observing how the energy rippled through the rivers. At first, results were mixed, but gradually the water flowed more evenly. Small whirlpools disappeared and currents became more predictable. Virella observed with amazement. This is incredible. Humans are not just helping. They are teaching us new ways to understand our own systems. By midday, the team took a break. Ellerins offered glowing fruit and nutrient-rich water, while humans shared stories of Earth, of forests, rivers, and animals. Ellerins listened with fascination, seeing a world beyond their own, learning from beings so different yet equally intelligent. After the break, the focus shifted to Elira's energy grid. The planet's satellites, designed to stabilize weather and maintain balance, were sending conflicting signals due to the unstable natural energy flows. Humans suggested a bold approach, reprogramming the satellite's algorithms using human pattern recognition methods, allowing the satellites to adapt dynamically rather than following fixed instructions. Virella hesitated. It is risky. Our satellites were never designed to adjust themselves automatically. Elena nodded. Yes, but if we do not try, the system will continue to fail. Humans take calculated risks, and we will monitor every change carefully. With Ellerin guidance, humans accessed the satellite network. They ran simulations, tested multiple scenarios, and gradually implemented the new algorithm. At first, small adjustments were made, monitored closely. The satellites began responding more intelligently to environmental changes. Solon watched in awe. It is beautiful. The satellites are learning from the planet itself. And the humans guided them, Jamal grinned. Humans can adapt quickly. We see patterns, test solutions, and change strategy if needed. We are not always perfect, but we learn fast. As evening approached, humans and Ellerins gathered again. The first results were promising. Test crops were healthier, river currents were more stable, and minor weather fluctuations had reduced. Ellerins cheered quietly, a sound like soft chimes in the evening air. Virella addressed the humans. Your work today has done more than improve the planet. You have shown us new ways to think, new ways to solve problems. For that we are deeply grateful. Elena smiled. We are grateful too. Working with you is inspiring. Ellerins are intelligent, precise, and creative. Humans and Ellerins together can do more than either alone. As the night fell, the team remained in the observatory. Holographic screens displayed energy patterns, plant growth, and river currents. Humans suggested new experiments. Ellerins offered insights, and together they refined strategies. The city below glowed softly in the moonlight, a symbol of hope and collaboration. Solon turned to Virella. I never imagined we could work so closely with another species. Humans are remarkable. Their persistence, their creativity, their willingness to act. These are qualities we rarely see. Virella nodded. Indeed, and we have much to learn from them. Perhaps this is the lesson Elira needed most. That sometimes, survival requires not only technology but also openness to ideas, to different ways of thinking. Meanwhile, Captain Elena and Jamal discussed the next steps. Tomorrow we should expand the test plots and synchronize more energy nodes along the rivers, Elena suggested. We can't solve everything at once, but step by step we can stabilize the planet. Jamal nodded. And the Ellerins are learning fast. They are adapting to our methods without losing their own approach. This is perfect teamwork. As the humans prepared to rest, they felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The first day of active collaboration had brought tangible results. They had not just observed the problem, they had begun solving it. And the Ellerins had embraced their guidance, showing respect, curiosity, and an eagerness to learn. Virella walked among the plants in the test plots one last time before night fully settled. She felt a quiet pride. For the first time in weeks, she believed Elira could survive this crisis. And it was thanks to the humans being so different yet so capable, willing to help without seeking reward or recognition. Elena looked out over the city from the observatory balcony. The lights shimmered, rivers glowed softly, and distant stars sparkled above. She felt a connection, not just to Elira, but to the universe. Humans had traveled far from Earth, faced the unknown and chosen to act with intelligence, creativity, and compassion. This was what made humans special. This was why Elira could hope. The night passed peacefully, with humans and Elirans alike dreaming of solutions, experiments, and discoveries. The planet was not yet saved, but the first steps toward recovery had been taken, and in those steps the bond between two civilizations strengthened. A bond built not through force or dominance, but through curiosity, cooperation, and the shared goal of making the impossible possible. By the next morning, the work would continue. Humans and Elirans would expand their efforts, refine their strategies, and tackle the larger, more complex problems that lay ahead. But for now, in the glow of a city learning to hope again, there was celebration, quiet but profound. Humans had arrived. They had observed, learned, and acted. Elirans had welcomed them, shared their knowledge, and embraced new methods. And together, they were creating something greater than either species could achieve alone. A future where Elira could thrive once more, guided by intelligence, perseverance, and the courage to try. The distant stars twinkled in silent approval, bearing witness to a moment that could one day be remembered across galaxies. The day humans and Elirans began working together to save a world, not through conflict, but through ingenuity, cooperation, and the shared belief that life, any life, was worth protecting. The morning light stretched across Elira, brushing silver towers and sparkling rivers with a soft glow. Humans and Elirans gathered early, energized by the successes of the past days. Small improvements in crops, river currents, and energy nodes had brought hope, but the larger challenges loomed. Captain Elena Reyes looked over the plans for the day. "We've seen success in small areas," she said to Jamal and Virella. "Now we need to scale it. We must reach the entire planet, not just test plots or a few river nodes. That will be harder, but it is necessary," Virella nodded. "You are right. Our systems were designed for stability, not rapid change. Expanding adjustments across the planet may have unexpected effects. We must proceed carefully," Elena smiled. "Humans are good at adapting to surprises. Let's face them together." The first task was scaling the hydro farms. The team divided the fields into zones, with humans and Elirans working side by side in each. Elena and Jamal led one zone, while Virella and Solon led another. They synchronized energy flows, adjusted water regulators, and monitored plant growth in real time. At first, challenges appeared. Some plants reacted poorly to the expanded energy adjustments, wilting unexpectedly. Other sections showed no improvement at all. Eliran scientists grew anxious. "We followed your method exactly," Solon said to Elena. "Why are some zones failing?" Elena examined the data closely. Patterns differ from place to place. Soil composition, microclimates, and local energy currents vary. Humans see these small differences and adapt. "We'll adjust each zone separately, testing and learning," Jamal added. "It's trial and observation. We won't get everything perfect at once, but each adjustment teaches us something." Slowly, with careful recalibration and observation, the hydro farms began to stabilize. Seedlings straightened, leaves turned greener, and Elirans whispered among themselves, awed by the methodical human approach. Next, the rivers. Synchronizing the nodes across the entire river system proved more difficult. The water network was extensive, and small misalignments caused minor surges that threatened to undo progress. Humans suggested a new approach, dividing the river into manageable sections, adjusting nodes one section at a time, while monitoring how each change affected the next. Virella raised an eyebrow. "It is precise work requiring patience," Elena nodded. "Patience is human strength when the stakes are high. We will proceed step by step." They began adjusting node sequences, observing patterns, and noting how energy rippled through the water. Some sections required multiple attempts. A small whirlpool appeared in one area, prompting quick adjustments. Another section showed unexpectedly rapid flow, which they corrected with human intuition and Eliran guidance. By evening, the rivers were flowing more evenly than they had in months. Elirans marveled at the progress. Humans combine observation, creativity, and calm determination, Solon whispered to Virella. "It is unlike anything we have seen." The final challenge was Elira's satellite network. With hundreds of satellites orbiting the planet, small adjustments in one area could cause ripple effects elsewhere. Humans suggested using adaptive algorithms to let satellites communicate and coordinate autonomously, while under human and Illyran supervision. Varela hesitated. This is unprecedented. Satellites have never been given the freedom to adjust themselves. We risk creating imbalance. Elena smiled reassuringly. Calculated risk. We monitor every change, learn from every result, and correct mistakes immediately. This is what humans do best. They began reprogramming satellites, first in small clusters, observing reactions. At first, minor instabilities appeared. Storms shifted slightly. Energy spikes occurred. But the team quickly adjusted the algorithms. Humans introduced pattern recognition routines, allowing satellites to anticipate energy surges and respond dynamically. Gradually, the system stabilized. Minor storms calmed. River nodes maintained flow and energy spikes decreased. The Illyrans watched in wonder as their own technology, guided by humans, began to operate more smoothly than ever before. Varela turned to Solon, her eyes bright. They are not just helping us, they are teaching us. Their methods, their way of thinking, is transforming our technology itself. Solon nodded. And they do it without arrogance. They do not replace our systems, they enhance them. It is remarkable. As the day progressed, new challenges arose. In the northern forests, soil instability caused minor landslides, threatening local wildlife and plant growth. Humans suggested building small energy stabilizers in affected areas, combining Illyran energy control with human design principles. Elena and a team of Illyran engineers worked through the afternoon, installing stabilizers, monitoring soil shifts, and adjusting energy flows in real time. Slowly, landslides stopped, and plants began to thrive again. In the far south, the team discovered an unusual energy anomaly in the atmosphere that caused erratic weather. Humans and Illyrans set up monitoring stations, mapped patterns, and introduced small adjustments to the satellite algorithms to counteract the instability. By evening, the planet was calmer. Rivers flowed smoothly, crops were improving, and minor storms had reduced in intensity. Illyran scientists and leaders gathered to discuss progress. Varela addressed both humans and Illyrans. Your work today has accomplished more than I imagined. Humans, your methods, your patience, your willingness to act and adapt, these have saved our systems from further collapse. You are not only problem solvers but teachers, showing us new ways to think about our own world. Elena shook her head gently. We are only beginning. Illyra has many systems, many patterns we still must understand. But together, we can handle it. Humans are strong because we do not give up. And your people are strong because you seek balance and knowledge. Together, we are stronger than either alone. Solon smiled faintly. I have seen many civilizations struggle with complexity, even those with technology greater than ours. Humans, you are exceptional in a way we never expected. As night fell over Illyra, the city glowed softly. Humans and Illyrans worked side by side to record observations, plan next-day experiments, and monitor the slowly stabilizing planet. There was still much work to be done, but the first large-scale successes had shown that recovery was possible. Captain Elena stood on a balcony overlooking the city. She felt a sense of pride and responsibility. Humans had traveled across light years to answer a call for help, and now their choices, intelligence, and teamwork were shaping the fate of an entire world. This is what it means to explore, she said quietly to Jamal. Not to conquer, not to dominate, but to understand, to collaborate, to bring hope and solutions where they are needed. Jamal nodded. And Illyrans are learning from us, just as we are learning from them. This is a partnership, not just assistance. Varela, watching humans and Illyrans together, felt a rare sense of joy. Perhaps this is the greatest lesson of all, she murmured to Solon. That survival is not just about technology or knowledge. It is about collaboration, courage, and willingness to try, even when the outcome is uncertain. As the night deepened, stars twinkled above Illyra, silent witnesses to the growing bond between two civilizations. Humans had faced the challenges of scale with ingenuity, calm determination, and adaptability. Illyrans had embraced new methods, learning quickly and applying them with precision. Together they were slowly restoring balance to a planet once on the brink of collapse. And in this partnership, both species discovered something extraordinary: intelligence. Creativity and perseverance were not limited to a single world. When hearts and minds united across the stars, even the greatest challenges could be met and overcome. The planet slept peacefully under the watch of humans and Elyrans, a fragile but growing symbol of hope. Tomorrow would bring new tests, new obstacles, and new opportunities for discovery, but for tonight they could rest, knowing they were not facing the crisis alone. Elyra had survived its first large-scale test. And humans, by answering a distant call for help, had shown why their species was special. Brave, clever, persistent, and capable of inspiring hope wherever they traveled. The morning sun rose over Elyra, painting the silver towers with gold. Birds, native Elyran creatures that had retreated during the crisis, began to return to the skies. Rivers sparkled, flowing smoothly through the valleys, reflecting the glowing light of the city. After weeks of work, the planet was finally showing signs of recovery. Captain Elena Reyes stood with Jamal and the Elyran leaders, looking at the thriving fields below. "It is beautiful," she said softly. "Look at the crops, they are growing strong, the rivers are steady, and even the storms have calmed." "Elyra is healing," Virella smiled, her translucent skin glowing faintly. "Yes, your presence, humans, has changed everything. Not only have you helped restore balance, but you have shown us new ways to think, new ways to solve problems. Elyra will never be the same." Solon nodded. "You have taught us that solutions are not always found in technology alone. Sometimes they are found in observation, creativity, and persistence. You have inspired us, humans." Elena shook her head gently. "No, Elyrans. You have inspired us too. This is not just a story of humans helping aliens, it is a story of teamwork, learning, and shared effort. We all grew together. The first task of the day was to finalize the planet-wide systems. Humans and Elyrans moved across the planet, checking hydro farms, river nodes, and energy satellites. Each adjustment had to be precise. The balance was delicate, even though it was improving rapidly. In the northern farms, Elyran scientists carefully observed the plants. Leaves were vibrant, roots strong, and the soil held a perfect balance of nutrients and energy. Humans helped optimize minor details, adjusting energy regulators slightly, suggesting timing changes for water cycles. But Elyrans applied the knowledge confidently, learning quickly from the humans' methods. Meanwhile, along the rivers, nodes pulsed evenly. Minor disturbances, which had once caused surges and unpredictable currents, were now corrected in real time. Jamal watched as water flowed smoothly through winding channels. "It is amazing," he said. "We fix the rivers not by brute force, but by understanding, timing, and patience." Elena smiled. "That's humans and Elyrans working together. Nature responds to understanding, not control." In orbit, the satellite network hummed efficiently. Previously chaotic energy patterns were now stabilized, allowing weather and river systems to function in harmony. Adaptive algorithms introduced by humans allowed satellites to respond dynamically, learning from real-time data. Storms formed only when natural patterns required them, and even those were mild, nurturing rainfall rather than destructive winds. Virella and Solon monitored the network closely. "I cannot believe how smoothly it is operating," Solon said. "Humans' approach was unconventional, but it works. They think differently, and that difference made the impossible possible." As the day continued, small celebrations began across Elyra. Citizens who had watched the humans work alongside their scientists were inspired. Children mimicked human gestures as they helped in gardens, learning from both humans and their own people. Teachers spoke of the partnership as a story to teach future generations, the day two intelligent species worked together to save a world. Elena noticed a group of Elyran children near a hydro farm, watching humans carefully. She approached and smiled. "Are you learning something?" she asked gently. A small Elyran with bright eyes nodded. "Yes, humans see things we cannot. They teach us patience and observation." Elena crouched slightly to meet the child's height. "And you, Elyrans, are teaching humans to respect nature and to think carefully. That is important too. Learning goes both ways." By afternoon, humans and Elyrans gathered in the city's central plaza for a meeting. Leaders, scientists, and citizens came together to acknowledge the work done. Virella spoke first. "Today, Elyra is on the path to recovery," she said. "This would not have been possible without our human friends. They crossed the stars to answer our call, not for power, not for reward, but to help. Their intelligence, creativity, and courage have inspired us all." Elena stepped forward. "We humans are proud to have helped," she said. "But more importantly, we are proud to have worked with you. Your people are intelligent, kind, and willing to learn. We have discovered new ideas together, solved challenges together, and shown that collaboration can achieve what alone cannot. Solon added, humans have shown us a new perspective. Your methods, your persistence, your courage in the face of uncertainty, these are qualities we admire deeply. We hope to continue learning from you. The crowd erupted in soft cheers, a gentle harmony of voices echoing through the plaza. Elyrans had rarely celebrated in this way, but today was different. Humans were not conquerors or visitors, they were partners, friends, and teachers. In the following days, humans helped set up long-term systems for Elyra's recovery. Training programs were established for Illyran scientists, teaching adaptive energy management, observation techniques, and dynamic problem-solving. Humans documented their methods so that future Ellyrans could continue improving the planet without external help. Elena and Jamal worked closely with Solon and Varela to plan future collaborations. We don't have to leave forever, Elena said. Even if we go back to Earth, we can continue exchanging knowledge. This partnership can grow. Varela smiled. Yes, this is not the end of your visit, it is the beginning of a long friendship. Elyra will always welcome humans who come with respect and curiosity. Before departure, the humans and Elyrans walked together along the restored rivers. Water flowed steadily, reflecting the glowing city lights and the twin moons above. Birds sang and the air was filled with the scent of thriving plants. Jamal turned to Solon. You have a beautiful planet. It is an honor to help you protect it. Solon nodded. And you, humans, have changed our way of thinking. You have reminded us that solutions are found not only in knowledge but in perspective, creativity, and action. Captain Elena looked at the horizon. We came here because your beacon called us, she said. But we stay because we believe in working together. You inspired us, and we hope we inspired you. That is what it means to answer a call for help. The Elyrans watched the humans board the Aurora for departure. The ship lifted gracefully into the sky, leaving trails of soft light. Elyrans waved, some shedding small tears of gratitude. Humans waved back, knowing that their presence had left a lasting mark on Elyra. Varela turned to the citizens and scientists. Remember today, she said. Remember what we learned from humans. Remember that collaboration, creativity, and courage can overcome even the greatest challenges. Elyra has survived not just because of technology, but because of hearts willing to act and minds willing to learn. As the aurora disappeared into the stars, a sense of peace settled over Elyra. The planet was not only surviving, it was thriving. Crops grew in abundance, rivers flowed steadily, and energy systems worked in harmony. Elyrans had learned new ways to observe, adjust, and improve, inspired by humans' ingenuity. Captain Elena looked back at Elyra one last time before jumping to faster-than-light travel. We will return, she whispered, and we will continue learning. Together. The distant beacon that had first called for help now rested quietly in Elyra's city. It had done its job, not by summoning warriors or conquerors, but by summoning curiosity, intelligence, and goodwill. The beacon had brought humans to Elyra, and in doing so, it had sparked a lasting partnership, a bridge between two worlds. In classrooms, laboratories, and city squares, Elyrans spoke of humans with admiration and respect. They taught us more than we thought possible, children would say. They showed us that intelligence is not only knowledge, it is curiosity, courage, and persistence. For humans, the journey was no less profound. They had traveled across the galaxy, faced unknown challenges, and left a positive mark on a distant world. They had demonstrated the best of humanity, ingenuity, perseverance, and a willingness to help without seeking reward. And as both species looked toward the future, they understood something remarkable. The universe was vast, full of mysteries, and sometimes, the right answer to the greatest challenge was not found in technology or power alone, but in cooperation, respect, and the shared belief that all life was worth protecting. Elyra and humanity had discovered a new truth together. When hearts and minds unite, no challenge is too great. And sometimes when a distant call for help is answered, it can change not only a world but the very way civilizations see one another. For Elyra, for humans, and for the universe, a new chapter had begun, one of friendship, learning, and hope. The stars above twinkled quietly, witnessing the dawn of a partnership that would endure for generations. A partnership born not of conquest or fear, but of curiosity, courage, and the simple, extraordinary act of helping another world.